Indiana, coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, Indiana football picks up a huge win over Iowa and enters the top 10 in the country.
And volleyball picks up their second conference win at home as they continue to stay hot early in the season. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Drew Furch.
And I'm Grace Jeffer. So Drew, there's been a lot of exciting things here in Bloomington, but how about them Hoosiers with the 5-0 start? I mean, they've been on fire.
It's been awesome to just watch them play football and really make Indiana into a football school. And I mean, Fernando Mendoza has just been ridiculous, and he's putting himself in the Heisman conversation. Indiana football gutted out a 20-15 win over the Iowa Hawkeyes for their first road win of the season. Let's head to Iowa City to check out the highlights. It's the Hoosiers' first road trip of the season as they travel to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes. Gronowski drops back, throws it up, and is picked off by Amar Farrell Jr. What a statement Indiana has coming out of the start with that picking the ball off. Then Mendoza drops back, throws it over to Amar Cooper Jr., and Indiana takes a 7-0 lead right off the bat. Iowa is going to respond with Gronowski using his legs and powering into the end zone, giving Iowa a 10-7 lead. Now, Drew Stevens kicks the field goal from 50 yards. It is good, giving Iowa a 13-10 lead. Indiana would quickly respond, though, with Nico Radicic scoring in on a 44-yard field goal to tie the game at 13. Now, Gronowski injured. Hank Brown enters the game for the Hawkeyes. Brown drops back under pressure and rattles off a pass to Sam Phillips, but it's in the hands of Lewis Moore for the Hoosiers. Indiana takes momentum back. Mendoza's going to drop back and throws it, but it is a pick to Zach Lutmer. A turn of turnovers for the Hawkeyes and the Hoosiers as Iowa is going to run it into Indiana's territory. Stevens kicks the field goal, but is wide left, and that is no good as it is still a 13-13 ball game with the Iowa fans desperately hoping that their Hawkeyes can respond. But Mendoza launches a missile to Surratt, and as they call him, Elijah Surratt is open 24/7 like his nickname Waffle House. The Hoosiers have responded in a big way. Now Mendoza is going to get the ball to ice the game, takes it straight in the end zone for a safety, and that should do it for Indiana as a 20-15 win over Iowa, and that is the first time Indiana has been 5-0 in back-to-back seasons. The Hoosiers have their first bye week of the season and sit tied for first in the Big Ten with a perfect 5-0 record.
Indiana men's soccer defeated UCLA at home this past Friday. Our Ethan Bonner has the recap.
After coming off of a 1-0 loss to Michigan State, Indiana looked to rebound against the UCLA Bruins to get themselves back even in their conference play record. Indiana started off hot with a goal by Palmer all just over 5 minutes into the game. In his 49 games played for Butler University, he totaled 21 goals. In just 10 games at Indiana, he has scored 8. However, Indiana didn't stop there. They introduced 2 new faces to the goal sheet, and this one was a rocket to the top right corner by Clay Murador, who didn't just score, but also had 2 assists on the day.
He played really well besides his production, which is incredible when getting 2 assists and a goal, but the timing of that, I love the first goal in general, just the timing of the rhythm, Collins creates it, but the way he waited for Barger was really well timed, and the pullback to Palmer was great. Mm-hmm. And then his finish is what he does have that in him.
Just 3 minutes after Murador's goal, Easton Bogart joins the party, giving the Hoosiers a 3-0 lead just 18 minutes into the game. Later in the game, UCLA was able to put 2 goals on the board, cutting the Hoosiers' lead down to 1. With 4 seconds left in the game, the Hoosiers were awarded a penalty, and they let their captain Jack Wagoner step up and bury one in the back of the net. It's his first goal in the 4 years of collegiate soccer he has played. The Hoosiers end up winning the game against the Bruins 4-2.
I think it was just, I was giving it up kind of from the start, and so Wags wanted it. We knew that was his first goal, so it was good to see him put it in the back of the net. It's really not my penalties, it's the team's, and so whoever is the top of the line to take it is going to do so. And
Indiana holds off the UCLA Bruins 4-2 to get themselves back in the win column, giving them a 7-2-1 record. The Bruins have their first Big Ten loss after winning 2 straight before this. Indiana now heads up to Seattle, Washington to take on the Huskies next Friday. From Bill Armstrong Stadium, I'm Ethan Bonner, IUSTV Sports.
Indiana men's soccer will be back in action this Friday as they travel to Seattle to take on the Washington Huskies.
IU men's basketball season is around the corner, and head coach Darren DeVries is confident in the team's early progress. During media days, DeVries praised the team's receptiveness to his coaching style, with a handful of the new guys adjusting to the IU court.
I love how coachable they are. I love, I think, how unselfish that we play. I think even our communication, our connectivity shines through a little bit on not only on the offensive end, but the defensive end. That's starting to really come together as we've gotten further and further through the summer and fall. So,
both the men's and women's basketball teams make their first appearance at the Hoosier Hoops on Kirkwood event on October 2nd.
Indiana field hockey traveled to Chicago last Friday to take on number 1 Northwestern. The Wildcats took an early lead with a goal by junior back Isla Trump, followed by another goal from graduate student midfielder Maddie Zimmer on a penalty corner. Indiana junior forward Teresa Rickey saw a chance to score in the second period, however Northwestern secured the defensive save. The Wildcats were able to score 2 more in the second, both by junior forward Ashley Sessa, which ended the half 0-4. Northwestern started the second half with a goal by junior forward Olivia Bent-Cole. Indiana had several more goal attempts, but again were not able to capitalize on them. The fourth period saw back and forth attempts to score from both teams. However, no goals were scored and the game ended 0-5. Field hockey will return home to Deborah Tobias Field this Friday to take on UC Davis at 3 p.m. You can watch that game on Big Ten Plus.
IU Swim and Dive hosted the Florida Gators in Bloomington on Friday. Our Oliver Swats has the story.
2 top teams in Indiana and the Florida Gators faced off in the swim and dive season opener today. The Indiana men dominated in the pool, winning by a large margin, and while the women won the final relay and other individual events, they came up short in the end. It was a group effort on the men's side, as they knocked off the Gators 208-92, led by sophomore Raekwon Noel.
On the men's side, I was really happy with how our freshmen performed. Raekwon Noel was fantastic. He's a sophomore and has really stepped up his game.
On the other hand, the women suffered a 170-130 loss. However, they were resilient and won races down the stretch, including the final relay.
Love that, the way we finished that last relay, but we're a much better team than what we showed today.
The Hoosiers will look to improve heading into the road trip out west. Jumping to the diving boards, IU chomped Florida 304-232. Sophomore Joshua Sullenberger stole the show, winning both 1 and 3.
Really happy for our sophomore Josh Sullenberger. He won both events and really looked like a veteran up there.
Along with Sullenberger, Florida native Kaylee Bishop scored 52.65 on her front 2.5 pike. She took first in 1 meter.
That's been our focus at the beginning of the season, is the entries into the water. It's the last thing the judges see, and it's the first thing we focus on every season.
Following the win, the dive team will look to sharpen their form and rip their entries, as they'll have 2 weeks to prepare for their next meet. The Hoosiers will now hit the road and travel to California for their next meet on October 10th. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Oliver Swats.
Indiana Swim and Dive has their next home meet December 5th. Stay tuned for the rest of their season.
Coming up after the break, we crown this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week.
And recap the women's soccer match against Oregon. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night.
Joining us in studio for this week's Hoosier Highlight is IUSTV sports reporter Julian Prescott. Julian?
Thanks, Grace. It was kills galore last week for IU women's volleyball. At the head of it all, Jaden Jaeger. And after beginning conference play 2-0, she earns this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week. The freshman outside hitter, absolutely incredible at the net so far for the Hoosiers this season. Last week, she accounted for 29 kills on a 2-2-1 kill percentage in the matchups against Northwestern and Washington. She now totals 142 kills on the season and leads the freshman in the Big Ten in that category. She also leads the Hoosiers in solo blocks so far with 6. She's been a critical piece to this Hoosier team all season alongside Candela Alonso-Cortez and Avery Tatum. The team is now 11-1 and is putting together something amazing. The Hoosiers have gotten off to a great start to the season with Jaden Jager being there for all of it. IU volleyball will go into the weekend to face off with some ranked opponents out west. But after a stellar week, the freshman, Jaden Jager, earns this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week. That's all. Back to you guys.
Indiana volleyball defeated Washington in their first Big Ten matchup at home. Our Gigi Welp has the recap.
I'm here at Wilkinson Hall for the Hoosiers matchup against the Washington Huskies. After their first conference win over Northwestern last week, Indiana volleyball was looking to make a strong showing for their Big Ten home opener versus Washington. The Hoosiers squeaked by in 3 very tight sets against the Huskies to get the win, moving them to 11-1 on the season and 2-0 in the Big Ten. The underclassmen did a great job showcasing their skills and value in this game. Sophomore middle blocker Ella Borisima accumulated 9 kills and 4 blocks, including the winning block that clinched the match for the Hoosiers. Freshman outside hitter Jaden Jager boasted 12 kills and 8 digs for the Hoosiers, and freshman outside hitter Audrey Jackson added another 7 digs along with 3 assists. Despite these performances, head coach Steve Aird was not fully satisfied with how his team played.
We blocked okay. Defensively, we outdug them by 10, but I thought we could have dug a ton more balls. So, not to take a full page from Sig's book, but like winning and still not real happy about winning. But winning in the Big Ten is really hard. Every team is good, and to start the year 2-0 in the Big Ten is good, and we'll take it. And get a little bit of rest tomorrow before we head out to the West Coast.
Next up for the Hoosiers, they travel to the West Coast to play against USC and UCLA. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Gigi Welp, back to the studio.
Indiana volleyball will be on the road for the next 3 weeks. They return to Wilkinson on October 19th.
On Sunday, Indiana women's soccer welcomed the Oregon Ducks to the Bill Armstrong Stadium. IUSTV sports reporter Oliver Carr has the story.
When IU took on Oregon, the Hoosiers had a brilliant first half as they cashed in to take a 1-0 lead, courtesy of sophomore midfielder Maggie Ledwith. But at the start of the second half, things took a turn, as the Ducks retaliated when they put 3 past the Hoosiers.
So they changed their shape coming out in the second half. I think we were a little slow maybe as a staff to make those adjustments. I definitely know after the first one came, and then just as momentum swings, right? Like sometimes it just kind of can snowball like that.
But the Hoosiers rallied, summoning some of that Bill Armstrong Stadium hunger that drove them to equalize.
I think just the hunger from our attacking group, and then had a couple different goal scorers today, which was nice. We haven't found the back of the net in a while. So I think just the hunger, wanting to get in front of a goal, get rebounds, get crosses in, I think it was much better today than it has been.
So, having earned a 3-all draw, the Hoosiers have a lot to take away from this game.
Proud of them for the end response, right? I think there's a moment in there that I think we could have handled a little bit better, but that's also part of this game, and hopefully it's learning experiences that we don't have to go through again, or at least we take some from this, and we're a little better prepared next time. A point's better than none. 3 goals is good, 3 goals against is not, but that's the nature of it, and we move on to big game Friday.
In a wild end-to-end game that saw 3 goals for both sides, for the Hoosiers, it's about what good they can take forward and what bad they can leave behind. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Oliver Carr.
On Friday, Indiana women's soccer heads north to West Lafayette to take on the Purdue Boilermakers in a game that Indiana midfielder Olivia Rush dubbed a cup final.
The IU men's golf team competed in the Wyndon Memorial Classic yesterday. The Hoosiers claimed 9th place, shooting a season-best 12 under par as a team. The Hoosiers jumped out of the gate, shooting -13 in round 1. Good enough for a share of first place with Illinois. However, the final 2 rounds did not match their round 1 performance. The Hoosiers shot 2 under in round 2 and 3 over in the final round. Bradley Chill Jr. had a nice bounce-back tournament after struggling in the Fighting Illini Invitational. Chill shot 8 under for the tournament, good enough for 6th place individually. Cole Starnes had a solid showing, shooting 3 under par and capturing 21st in the individuals. The Hoosiers travel to South Bend to play in the Fighting Irish Classic next week.
Joining us in studio for this week's Candy Stripe calendar is IUSTV sports reporter Julian Zielinski. Julian?
Thanks, guys. The Cream and Crimson will continue to steamroll into fall this weekend. Friday and Saturday, women's volleyball travels out west to take on 2 ranked opponents in number 17 USC and number 24 UCLA. Meanwhile, staying on the West Coast, the number 3 ranked Indiana Hoosier men's soccer team will be up north in Seattle to take on the Huskies of Washington. Women's soccer will also be on the road to kick off this Friday to take on rivals Purdue. Men's and women's tennis will both compete at tournaments through Sunday, with women's tennis staying at home to compete in the Hoosier Classic. Men's tennis will travel to Tennessee to compete in the MTSU Invite. Finally, rounding out the weekend, softball will play host to Missouri Baptist at home right here in Bloomington. That's all from me at the big screen. Let's hand it back to you guys at the desk.
And that's our show for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports to keep up with all the latest in IU athletics. For our production crew behind us, I'm Drew Furch.
And I'm Grace Jeffer. We'll see you next week.